Hey everyone, welcome to Strange Stories, where we explore near-death experiences and supernatural stories from people who've had a glimpse of the other side. If you enjoy our content, please consider liking the video and subscribing to our channel. Without further ado, let's get to the story of the day. To begin, while the above OBE checkbox was checked, I would not call it an OBE, but rather an extension of our own being to this encounter. Perhaps it is comparable to a surgeon's scalpel becoming a part of him while in the operating room, almost like not letting go between the encounter, holding on with an imaginary hand. I can only say it began slowly and hazily, and gradually cleaned up to crystal clear clarity, but it remained gradual or stuck in time, which is impossible to express. The light was incredibly bright and white as the haze lifted, but not hurtful to my eyes, and certainly not sunlight, which would be warm or burning in this instance. It felt like I had improved vision and was hyper-aware of my surroundings. There was no climate in terms of weather. Once clear, the light stayed enveloped what I now affectionately refer to as my morph. This is my own humorous approach to welcoming her. In the light, she stood in front of me. The picture, or interaction, was so brief that it felt like I was staring through a camera lens. Everything is within a 15-meter radius of me at most. I am inside a container, perhaps the tunnel, but there's no beginning, no end, no sides, roof, or floor. Yet I am aware that there's something above, below, behind, to my left and right, and all around me. However, I'm not touching the earth, but it's present. Because the light totally surrounds her, nothing beyond my morph is visible. She's wearing a white blouse, not expensive, not a t-shirt, but a casual blouse, but it's noticeable white even in the white light. She's shrouded or hazed from the waist down. She's between the ages of 18 and 25, possibly younger, not any older. I call her my morph since she looks like 2 or 3 persons merged into one. As a result, we'll refer to them by the name of the person they resemble. She's heavier than me, 45 kilograms, but not as heavy as my personal administrator, Eleanor, 100 to 120 kilograms. She's around the size of my best friend, whom I affectionately refer to as Sissy, because she's been in my life since she was 12 and is now 39, about 70 kilograms. To be more specific, she may weigh 80 kilograms. Her hair is trimmed in a bob with a fringe clipped just over her brows. Her hair is dark brown to black in color and in good shape. If I merged Eleanor's and my faces and added my sister's freckles from when she was younger, this is what she would look like, but only the younger version. Her skin tone is light but not sickly. I intend to ask my aunt to show me as many images as she can of my family when they were younger, but she didn't remind me of anyone I knew in the past or present, aside from those mentioned. I felt comfortably tranquil, at peace, devoid of pain, sorrow, and discomfort, no longer tired, unafraid, and amused in my morph. As an introvert, I prefer my own space but spend much too much time at work, so this was excellent because it slowed me down, a chilled feeling, and helped me feel at ease in the small space, or the camera lens feeling. I realized I was no longer on Earth, but rather floating in midair encased in my bubble. This, I believe, was a way of telling me to slow down, take it easy on yourself, and stop taking on so much. I didn't think of my morph as a spiritual being, but the environment felt godly, peaceful, calm, and very silent. Quiet being something I crave pertaining to my overactive thoughts. There were no sounds or noises. There are no voices or even background noises. The image does not move closer to or away from the camera lens. I can't see myself, but there's an invisible something, perhaps a camera, in front of me. There's also an undrawn line beneath me that I cannot see, but I know it's there. My morph isn't really joyful, but she's also not angry. She's straight-faced but not harsh. She's not imposing, yet she has a certain sass about her. Whatever is behind her, which I can't see owing to the white light, isn't for me to see, and her spunk won't allow me past, but she's utterly non-aggressive, almost hilarious. On Earth, I would be more defiant and wish to defeat anything that gets in my way, but this was not the case. I suppose I was being held back from moving ahead into my transformation by this imagined line underneath me and the camera. When I awoke from this meeting, I instantly assumed it was a dream or that the medication I was taking was extremely potent. The drug being utilized as a final resort is highly hazardous. Something about my early thoughts or assumptions felt off. Unbeknownst to me, after being discharged, I had discussed this with my spouse, but I have no recollection of it. However, he was also suffering by my condition and the fear of losing me. He's not an atheist in the traditional sense. When I met him 8 or 9 years ago, he just believed in a creator. Over time, he began to refer to that maker as God, but he never prayed until I was on my deathbed. He said it was the first time he'd prayed seriously in his life, and he pleaded God to spare me. He claimed to be aware of my imminent death and was frantic not to lose me. My husband informed me that the conversation I had with him was about another death in which I was involved. Shaden, Sissy's late son, was born with a liver biliary condition. He was born on April 5, 2003, and it was prophesied that he would not live to see his first Christmas. Shaden celebrated his first Christmas and 5th birthday before dying away on June 13, 2008. Sissy didn't want Shaden to die in a hospice, so I spent the majority of his final days beside him. He was receiving pain relief medications from home, same as he would at a hospice. I changed Shaden's nappy at 10 p.m. on the night of June 13, 2008, and realized this was it. He had fallen into a coma at 3 p.m. that day. When I got at this place that day, we drank a lemon twist cool drink and ate pomegranate seeds, which he called vruchts, Afrikaans for fruits in miniature form or baby type talk. The days leading up to this were enlightening. He was lying on the bed with me when he began pointing to the dresser and laughed loudly. I inquired as to what he was laughing about. Because his chuckle was so unique, I was immediately amused and delighted. In response, he told me about the angel on the dressing table and continued saying, "Look," while giggling his tiny head off. Sissy and I just discussed this, and she reminded me of another occasion in which he was showing her goldfish in the fish tank that were not there, prompting her to go out and buy goldfish for him. The difference here is that Shaden was fully awake during these interactions. Unbeknownst to me, I had shared this event with my husband shortly after leaving the hospital. I haven't delved into how extensively I discussed it with him, and am unclear how much he would recall owing to his own delicate health, but I will when I have the connection to do so. I felt isolated and as though no one would believe me. I asked Sissy if she believes in the death tunnel on January 4, 2019, but she didn't respond, so I took it as a sign not to bring it up again. She then admitted that she had missed the message. I asked her again on January 25, 2019, and she said, "Yes, I fully believe in it." I, on the other hand, clenched my teeth and said I'd speak to her when I was ready. She was calm. I had the opportunity to talk a little more about it with my husband about a month ago, maybe 2 months ago, but he came across as disinterested, in my opinion, or possibly just out of his league of discussion or interest, and he never mentioned the part where I had already discussed it with him when I left the hospital. Then, on May 7, 2019, I finally spoke with Sissy and was relieved by our support. The next day, I told my youngest son, 21, about it, and he was also supportive, if not completely understanding. I realized I wasn't the only one. I spoke to my husband again just over a week ago, and I told him I felt he wasn't supportive, but he said he did listen, and that's when he mentioned me telling him about Shaden when I got home from the hospital. He asked if I felt it, death, like he did, and I said, yes. I'm not sure if he did listen or is just forgetful, but it doesn't bother me because I believe I'm on the right track here and I'm reading my second Jeffrey Long book, even though I did read God and the Afterlife first and have now started on the former. And despite already having read a little, including the part where it says it's beneficial to first read the book, then fill in this form, I seemed to think I wanted to express myself first, as if I had any doubt on my mind about an NDE. It was perfectly clear to me, after just reading the introduction, that it was real and will forever have an impact on my existence.